If you think you're too weak to change, this story is for you. Not because you're broken, and not because you lack discipline, but because at some point in your life you were taught to survive instead of grow. 6 months ago, I didn't believe transformation was possible for someone like me. I believed strength was something other people were born with. I believed some bodies were built for power and others were meant to stay small. Primera. Es wrong. It started on a flight of stairs. A simple moment. One cardboard box filled with books. Nothing dramatic. Nothing heroic. Halfway up the stairs, my arms started shaking. My grip slipped. My back tightened, like it was about to give out. My breathing turned shallow and panicked. I had to sit down on the steps, just to keep from passing out. People walked around me, polite but confused, and in that moment I understood something I had been avoiding for years. I wasn't tired. I wasn't unlucky. I was fragile. And fragility isn't cute. It's dangerous. I went home that night angry. Not at the stairs, not at the box, but at myself. Angry that my body couldn't do something so basic. Angry that I had spent years shrinking, avoiding discomfort, convincing myself that weakness was normal. That night I made a decision I didn't fully understand yet. I decided I never wanted to feel that helpless again. The next day I walked into a gym. The smell hit first. Chalk, old iron, sweat, effort. The sound of plates clanging and bodies moving with purpose. Everyone looked strong, confident. At home, I felt like an intruder, like I didn't belong in a room where people actually knew what their bodies could do. I stayed in the corner. I avoided mirrors. I avoided eye contact. I grabbed the lightest weights I could find and hoped no one noticed how unsure I was. I didn't know what I was doing. My movements were awkward. My form was bad. My confidence was non-existent. But before I left that day, I made myself a promise. I didn't promise to be good. I didn't promise to be strong. I promised not to quit. The first 2 weeks were brutal. Every muscle in my body hurt all the time. Sitting down burned. Standing up burned. Lifting my arms to wash my hair felt like punishment. My body begged me to stop. To go back to comfort. To go back to being careful. Every excuse sounded reasonable. Every reason to quit felt logical. Then, someone told me the truth I had been avoiding my entire life. Stop starving yourself. You can't build strength from nothing. You can't grow on fear. Food wasn't the enemy. It was the foundation. And that terrified me more than any heavy weight ever could. The scale started going up. Numbers I'd spent years trying to avoid showed up without apology. Panic followed. I had spent my entire life trying to be smaller, quieter, easier to carry. And now, I was being asked to do the opposite. To eat more. More. To take up space. Every instinct in me resisted. But I stayed. I ate. I trained. I learned that motivation is temporary, but discipline is something you build when motivation disappears. Weeks passed, then months. Somewhere around month 3, the goal stopped being weight on the bar and started being control of my body. Primerisla went down. I learned how to brace, how to breathe, how to move with intention. I stopped chasing validation and started listening to feedback from my own muscles. One morning, standing in the bathroom, I caught a shadow on my arm. A small curve. Something that hadn't been there before. I flexed again, just to be sure. A muscle. Small. Real. Mine. My back started to change. My legs felt stronger. My jeans stopped fitting the way they used to. And for the first time in my life, I didn't panic. I didn't cry. I felt proud. Proud of growth instead of ashamed of it. Proud of effort instead of afraid of judgment. My posture changed without me noticing. I stopped collapsing inward. My shoulders pulled back naturally. My spine stood taller. I wasn't pretending to be confident. My body was physically stronger, and it demanded more space. I realized how much of confidence is simply capability. Month 4 introduced fear again. Heavy iron, deadlifts, A bar loaded with weight that didn't care how I felt about it. 135 pounds sat on the floor waiting for commitment. I stood there longer than I needed to. Chalked my hands, took a breath, and decided to trust myself. When I braced and drove my heels into the ground and felt the bar rise, something clicked. Power flooded my body. Not imagined power. Real power. Earned power. The kind that doesn't need permission. My hands, torticollis formed. My appetite grew. I stopped apologizing for eating. I stopped explaining myself. I wasn't feeding insecurity anymore. I was fueling performance. Some days I felt bloated. Some days I felt slow. Some days I felt weak. And I trained anyway, because strength isn't built on perfect days. It's built on the days you show up, despite discomfort. Month 5, my body felt different. Heavier. Denser. Grounded. My steps hit the ground with intention. I walked differently, not because I wanted attention, but because I trusted my body to hold me. I wasn't just occupying space anymore. I belonged in it. Month 6 arrived quietly. No dramatic music. No sudden revelation. Just consistency. Paying interest. I looked in the mirror and saw a version of myself I never thought I'd meet. Strong shoulders. A capable back. Legs that looked like they could carry weight without fear. I didn't look smaller. I looked prepared. In January, I couldn't hang from a pull-up bar for 10 seconds. My grip failed immediately. Today, I jumped, grabbed the bar, pulled. The moment my chin cleared it, something shifted permanently. I wasn't fighting gravity anymore. I was controlling it. I dropped to the floor, laughing, breathless, overwhelmed by the realization that the fragile version of me no longer lived in my body. Later that day, I looked at an old photo of myself. The girl who avoided discomfort. The girl who thought weakness was normal. I didn't feel shame. I felt gratitude. She started the journey. Even when she was afraid. She didn't know it yet, but she was building armor. Last week, a friend asked for help moving. Heavy boxers. 3 flights of stairs. I picked one up without thinking. No shaking. No hesitation. No panic. I carried it all the way up without stopping. And in that moment, it came full circle. This was never about looking good. Never about social media. Never about proving anything. It was about capability. About knowing that when life gets heavy, your body doesn't collapse under it. 6 months. 180 days. That's all it took to rewrite my relationship with myself. I started with a flight of stairs. And now I ask you, where will you start?